Good evening, everyone. It's the host and the man, and I'm here to tell you all my 7th chapter of Pirates of the Caribbean, The Final Voyage. But before I do, I want to apologize for taking such a long time, because I'm still having some difficulty how to make better videos and to get more subscribers and other stuff like that. And also some other things that I had to take care of. But the good news is, I'm finally back, and I'm ready to continue with Pirates of the Caribbean 6. Are y'all ready? Sit back and relax, and let's get started. Chapter 7, Navigation. Many miles away, the Flying Dutchman is sailing quietly through the night, and all that is to be heard is the sound of crew members shouting, giving orders, and Davy Jones playing his organ. Davy Jones played his organ magnificently, as he always has done before, and as usual, he played the most famous song that is ever known by Calypso. He started to play it magnificently and loudly, and then he started to play slowly and silently. Then he looked to his music box, picked it up, and started to feel emotional. And then, as he looked through the rocket, he started to remember that everything that he and Calypso had been through together before she abandoned him. He started to have some recent memories that when he was human, walking on land, and he was a young man, and that he met the goddess Calypso. They did everything together. And until then, they made a duet together, which is the same song that Davy Jones has been playing. Come, my love, be one with the sea, rule with me for eternity, drown your tears so mercilessly, and lead the souls to me. Play the song you sang long ago, and wherever the storm may blow, you will find the key to my heart. We'll never be apart. Wild and strong, you can't be contained, never bound or ever chained. Wounds you cause will never melt, and you will never end. And then, as the duet ended, Davy Jones went onto his ship, waved goodbye to Calypso, shouting to her back that he will return when his debt is paid. Then 10 long years later, as he returned, Calypso was gone. Davy Jones searched everywhere for her. He started to feel like that she had abandoned him. And then, as we go back, Davy Jones sang quietly the final verse of the song as he started to feel sad. Cruel and cold, like winds on the sea, when you ever return to me. 10 long years, a way to go by. Our love will never die. As Davy Jones wiped the tears off his face, he heard someone knocking in his cabin door. One of the crew members came in, telling him that they have a situation. As Davy Jones went above, he looked around and noticed that the whole area is covered in fog. Everywhere from left to right, back and in front was covered in fog, except only for the clear night sky. Then Davy Jones looked at his crew members, and then he said, "Bring the woman." Below deck, Elizabeth and Carina was just starting to make plans on how to escape, as Elizabeth was trying to break a cardboard underneath the ship so they could find a way to escape. And before they finally had the chance, the crew members came in and grabbed both Elizabeth and Carina and dragged them upstairs. 3 of the crew members tied Elizabeth into a post and gagged her so she won't say a word. And then the other crew members dragged Carina close to Davy Jones, and Davy Jones gave a horrible sneer, put his arm on her shoulder, and then he said, "It's time for you to shine, my dear." As you can see, we're totally lost in this fog. And since you know about stars, tell us which way that we should go, and try to do anything, and your friend here will be thrown overboard and she'll drown. Carina looked at Elizabeth, and then all she could hear was Elizabeth's muffled sounds as the crew members were jeering at her, laughing at her, and making fun of her. Then Carina nodded and said that she would help. She looked in the sky to which way they need to go, and then she pointed and said, "Go northwest." Davy Jones gave the command, and one of the crew members steered the ship northwest and they all headed into that direction. And then Carina said, "By this time by morning, we might head into our destination." Then Davy Jones got close by, and then he said, "We better, or it'll be your neck that will be hanging in the mast. And Miss Swan, too." Carina gulped in horror, and then she looked back up in the sky again. Many miles ahead, the Queen Anne's Revenge is caught in the same fog as the Flying Dutchman was in. But then Scarface, first mate, noticed the fog, and then he asked Angelica, "This is the most densest fog that I have ever seen in my entire life. Are you sure we're not falling behind, Captain?" As Angelica turned, Scarface noticed that Angelica's eyes were white. And then she held onto her sword, gave a little twirl, and then she said in a soft voice, "Of course, Scarface, for as you can see, I am the one who is controlling this fog." Scarface was flabbergasted, and he wondered how. Angelica then said, "My father, he had a magical sword of his own before the one-legged man murdered him and took his sword. After I came upon the ship, I came upon my father's notes, and then I have made my own sword with magical artifacts. And now my own sword has its own power connected to this ship." Scarface gave a frightening sneer, and he said, "Fascinating." And then Scarface looked ahead again while he was steering at the wheel, and then he said, "By this time tomorrow morning, we will catch up with the Black Pearl, and we will destroy everyone, including Sparrow, on the ship." Angelica put her hand on Scarface's hand, kissed him on the cheek, and then she said, "Oh yes, revenge has never been so much sweeter." And then Scarface kind of started to blush. But this kind of blush was different, as his scars were starting to show more and glowing bright red. And then he started to wince in pain. Then he inhaled and exhaled, and his eyes turned bright red, and then he chuckled. And Angelica chuckled back, and they both held hands together as they looked overhead in the dense fog. Down below deck, Will, Henry, Gibbs, and the rest of the crew members are still in the brig and starting to lose hope that they'll never escape. Henry wondered if they would ever see Elizabeth and Carina again. Then he started to feel a little sad. Then Will put his hand on his shoulder, calmed him down, and then he said, "Of course we will, son. We're going to stop Davy Jones once and for all, rescue your mother Carina, and then you will have my permission to get married." Hearing what Will just said, Gibbs turned around and then he said, "Married? You going to marry Carina?" Henry said yes, and then Gibbs congratulated him, and the others congratulated him as well. Pintail, on the other side, said, "How romantic. The puppet's son is going to marry another puppet." Rigetti nodded in agreement, and then he said, "It's going to be like old times." Marty, on the other side of the brig, then said, "What old times? You mean the time when we fought the Flying Dutchman in the Maelstrom?" Painter Getty stopped smiling for a moment, then he said, "Oh no. You know what? You're right. This isn't... No, it's not. This is an entirely different matter. Yes, I agree. Totally, yeah." Then Scrub said, "Well, it's gonna get hard for you to get married if we're still stuck in the brig." Will looked around, and then he noticed the bench that Henry is sitting on will be the solution for all their problems. Then Will smiled and said, "You know, I think we're going to escape a lot quicker than I thought we would be." Scrub, Gibbs, and Marty looked at Will, and Gibbs said, "What? What do you mean? What are you thinking, lad?" Will smiled, and then he said, "Leverage." They all grabbed the bench that Henry was sitting on, put it on the hinges, and hoisted the gate. Worried, Scrum looked around, and then he said, "Do you suppose everyone heard that?" And then Will said, "Not if we keep quiet and hurry. Now come on, let's hurry and free the others, find a rowboat, and get out of here." Meanwhile, on the left side, on the Queen Anne's Revenge, someone was spying on the ship with a spyglass. It was Commander Willis from Port Royal on the HMS Stompers II. He went up to the governor's cabin, and then he said, "There's a pirate ship ahead of us." Lazily, the governor got up, burped loudly, and then he said, "Well, nothing like the good old days. You know what you must do, Commander Willis. Do not fail me, or you will be the one that will be hanged." Commander Willis grabbed his head, nodded, and then he did as he was told. He gave the command for the rest of the soldiers to ready the cannons, and then he smiled, and then he heard the governor coming up behind him, and then he said, "Now, all we need to do is wait till morning, and we will strike." And that is the end of Pirates of the Caribbean, The Final Voyage, Chapter 7. What do y'all think of it so far? Do you like it? Please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe for more notifications of videos, shorts, and posts in the future. And also don't forget to share to your friends and family and help me reach over 100 or more subscribers. Hope you have a good, splendid day. God bless.